my truck all the way. Well, I think my truck, most of the driving I do.
Good
probably
evening,
just
everyone.
11 miles.
Thank you for joining us. Today is January 19th, 2023, and the time is 6:30. Council, when I call your name, please say here or present. Mayor Maxton.
Here.
Councilmember Stroop.
Here.
Elizondo.
Here,
Michelle Bliss is not present. Laura Kerner.
Here.
Scott Parker.
Here.
And Chesley Menchow.
Present.
With 6 members of council present, a quorum is declared.
Thank you, Christina. And would everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. What a great turnout. Must be something special going on. Just as a reminder, we are live streaming tonight's meeting. If anybody is going to speak as part of the meeting, if you're going to make comments, I would ask that you use the microphone up here. If you don't use the microphone, then it doesn't get, we don't pick it up over the live stream. If you do get the opportunity to speak, would you please state your name? If you're a Fair Oaks Ranch resident, state you're a resident. Or if you're from some other entity, just please state from where you're from. And with that, we'll move on to citizens to be heard tonight. We have 2 individuals that signed up. Excuse me. First is Art Smith. Smith here. Did you want to speak? And then next, you're Steve? Okay. Then we can just get rid of this.
You must speak now, right?
All right, that was all the people that we had that signed up as part of Citizens to be Heard. Is there anybody here that didn't get an opportunity to sign up that would like to speak as part of our meeting? Okay, with that, we'll move on to presentations. And the first presentation we have tonight is a presentation of our Purple Heart City street signs. Joanna, you're going to lead us through this?
I am. Thank you, Mayor. So tonight, we are talking about our Purple Heart City designation. We are, have been designated a Purple Heart City since 2016. And through our branding committee, we are actually putting signs around Fair Oaks Ranch. So tonight I'm going to give a little backstory kind of about what the designation is, how we got it, and then talk to you guys about where and when we're going to be doing all this. So the Purple Heart is a United States military decoration awarded in the name of the President of the United States to those who were wounded or killed while serving in the U.S. military. It is one of the oldest military medals in the nation, and becoming a Purple Heart City is an honor and title given by the Military Order of the Purple Heart Veterans Organization for those entities that want to honor, respect, and thank and remember Purple Heart awardees. So one way that to do this, to be declared a Purple Heart City, the mayor and or city council, they must deliver an official proclamation, which is then presented to a local chapter of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And on March 17th of 2016, we did that with the purview of the Alamo chapter 1836 of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, and Mayor Landrum and the City Council proclaimed that the City of Fair Oaks Ranch bestows honor and gratitude upon the Military Order for the Purple Heart, and proudly supported and recognized the City of Fair Oaks Ranch as a Purple Heart City in the state of Texas. So once this honor is given, the city's name is entered into the Purple Heart Trail website. And the purpose of this website is to create kind of like a symbolic and honorary system of different roads and highways, bridges, and other monuments that give tribute to the men and women who have been awarded this high honor. The Purple Heart Trail does this by creating visual reminders to those who use the road and the systems throughout the state of Texas. And so there are signs that are placed at various locations for those who are a part of this. As part of that, the highways where legislation has been designated to present these are part of a national road system, and they call that the Purple Heart Trail. So the actual format and design of the signs kind of change from state to state, and there are currently about 45 states that participate in this recognition. So this Purple Heart designation is an extremely prestigious honor that a city can receive and be a part of. We are very proud and honored to also be a part of that, so that we can continue our commitment to honoring veterans and remembering the brave men and women who have served, and the debt and gratitude that we owe them. So that's just a little bit of history, kind of some information on what amazing designation this is. So as we look, this next slide kind of just talks to us about where in the city we are going to be placing the signs. I'm sorry, I'm having some asthma issues today. Sorry. And so these signs are going to be located on what we call collector roads here within the city of Fair Oaks Ranch. And these collector roads are designated by our current Transportation Capital Improvement Plan, CIP. And so we are, thank you. We are designating 5 different areas. And so this map kind of just highlights that in a general overview where these are going to be. So we're going to have one at Dietz Elkhorn and Old Fredericksburg Road, Dietz and Ralph Fair and Ammon, Fair Oaks Parkway near Leslie Pfeiffer, and then the northeast corner of Ammon Road. And those are designated on here by those different symbols. So through the Branding Committee that brought this as a great opportunity for us to continue to honor and recognize this designation, we are also going to be holding a sign unveiling ceremony tomorrow morning. And we are going to do it located out here right in front of City Hall at 10 a.m. So we do ask that anybody watching or in attendance today, please feel free to come join us as we unveil the official signs for the city. They have already been placed in these designated spots that I just mentioned to you. And after we hold this ceremony, then our team will go out and unmask the other cities that are around town. So any questions? Anything? Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanna.
Just big thanks to the Branding Committee and Councilwoman Kerner for helping bring this to us. It's been a really neat kind of learning experience for us to look at the history through the city and for the designation. And we're just really excited, so we hope you all join us tomorrow.
Thanks, Joanna. And just to reiterate, tomorrow is the official unveiling of the signs. We'll conduct that here at a ceremony at City Hall, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Next, we'll move on to, we have 2 additional presentation items tonight, which I think is why a lot of people are here tonight. But it's a very good news story for our area and for the city. We have a proclamation honoring Chief Hardenstein with the Leon Springs Volunteer Fire Department for his 45 years of service to that department. And then we also have the introduction of the new fire chief. I'm going to turn this over to our Mayor Pro Tem, Laura Kerner, who also serves as our liaison to the Emergency Services Division.
I'm going to come up here and talk through the microphone for a bit, but I'm honored to be able to be here and honored Chief Hardenstein and all the work that he's done for the city. Want to thank everyone who's come out to support, and thank you, Mayor Landrum, for being here as well. The Leon Springs Fire Department Board of Directors are also here, so I appreciate you all coming out and showing your support as well. Chief, I don't know if you want to stand up while I read about you. So I would appreciate it. I just want to talk a little bit about Chief Bob Hardenstein and all he's done. You can stand right there, and then I'm going to give you a proclamation afterwards. And everything he's done for our city. So he has served as the Leon Springs Fire Chief for 45 years. And he recently stepped down to allow the hiring of a full-time fire chief. And so thinking back to all the things that have changed in this area for 45 years, Leon Springs Fire Department, when they first started as a volunteer fire department and now is a full-paid fire department, has served the city of Fair Oaks Ranch before we were even a city, and then has continued after we became a city through all of our agreements that we've had. So the Leon Springs Fire Department was started in 1973 after an accidental fire that happened at a mobile home in the area, and unfortunately a child passed away. So they formed the fire department. It was the first volunteer fire chief stepped down after 1 year, and then they had another volunteer fire chief that was there for 4 years. And then Chief Hardenstein, who moved to the Trailwood area in 1976, he was asked at the age of 30 to be the Leon Springs Fire Chief, and that was in 1978. I will not say what I was doing in 1978. But you could just think about that entire time. Chief, you've been here. He started firefighting in the Air Force Reserves in 1974. He also started serving the San Antonio Fire Department in 1976. He volunteered at many local fire departments of Hillside Acres and Northwest Volunteer Fire Department. He worked in San Antonio at Station 31 for a year, Station 17 for 10 years, and then 21 years at Station 23 at the San Antonio Airport. So, and that experience that he had as a professional firefighter and those other organizations definitely helped in the position that he had here at Leon Springs and Fair Oaks Ranch, and especially as we became more populated. I think you said when Steve was talking to you that back then we may have gotten one call a month, and that was a busy month, and. Wow. Oh, no. Just because they were bored? Wow. Over the years, Chief, you've seen hundreds of men and women under you join the department and then become professional firefighters all over the state of Texas. You have such a big impact, one of which is my husband, so I really appreciate that. I did want to talk a little bit about his service to our community. There's one thing that you probably don't know is he spent his entire 45 years as a fire chief completely as a volunteer and has never taken a paycheck. Just think about that. It's very impressive. And I think the biggest demonstration of your leadership is that you demonstrated this ability to look at what this region needed. And even though you would love to continue serving as a department, you knew that this area needed a full-time professional fire chief. I mean, we're doing, what, 150 to 200 calls a month? It's quite a few. I know that was a tough decision, but I can't tell you, that is probably one of the most demonstrated your leadership is the humbleness that it takes to recognize what we need in this area, and you brought us to where we are. So I just wanted to personally thank you for everything you've done for the city, as a firefighter wife, for keeping my husband safe and training him. I would like to present to you an official proclamation. I don't know, Mayor, if you want to read it? You could read the proclamation. I appreciate that, and then we'll take some pictures.
Tell you what, can we just give a round of And Chief, the piece that I didn't understand that just doesn't add up, you started when you were 30 and you served 45 years, but age-wise, it just doesn't add up. Come on.
It started when I was 30, and I joined the department in November of 78, I'm sorry, 78. Yeah, you know, I got 79 when we married. And I had my son, my oldest son, took chiropractic.
Still going strong.
Yes, I'm not going strong as much as I'd like to. In the last 2 years, my hips gave up. Today, I just found out corporal tunnel with the severe again. So I'm just falling apart.
No.
But you know, COVID didn't help either. That's a lot of it.
Well,
Other than that, I was very active, and that's pretty much limited my doing my activities.
Well, sir, we do have a proclamation from the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, Office of the Mayor, and that it states, whereas the City Council of Fair Oaks Ranch recognizes the professionalism and the commitment of those individuals who have volunteered their time to serve the citizens of our great city. And whereas the Leon Springs Volunteer Fire Department was formed in 1973, which serves the Leon Springs area, including the area which is now the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas. And whereas Bob Hardenstein was asked to serve on the Leon Springs Volunteer Fire Department Fire Chief in 1978 at the age of 30 and served 45 years in that role. And whereas he spent his entire 45 years as fire chief working as a volunteer and has never taken a paycheck during that time. And whereas over the years he has seen hundreds of men and women join the department and then move on to become professional firefighters throughout the state of Texas. Whereas on January 9, 2023, he stepped down to allow the hiring of a full-time fire chief, which he believes is required due to the increased call volume and the resident population we're seeing in the area. And whereas he has sacrificed so much in service to this community, displayed exemplary leadership, demonstrated a strong desire to protect our city. Now and therefore, by the power vested in me as the mayor of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas, on behalf of all of our citizens, I proclaim our sincere appreciation to Chief Bob Hardenstein in recognition of his 45 years of volunteer service to the Leon Springs Fire Department and for his dedication to the community. Signed by me. Could you get a... See if you get one with you and Chief. And all the council?
I feel like when you're kind of firing right now. Believe it or not, there is one kind of fireman when I was down here. A gentleman over there, Ken Jensen, he had sling in it, and I'm a full poster of his. So, you can imagine that. Thank you again for the great honor for bestowing on me tonight. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me. But I want to say one thing. it's not me that made the department, it was all the firefighters. I just helped supervise and make sure they did their job. And without them and their family support with the volunteer, this department would have never been the way it is. There's many a times during the 45 years, especially when I used to come out to Fair Oaks Ranch, there was a lot of times I went out by myself in the truck. And it used to get, well, most of the time was brush fires until it started growing. And in the last couple of years, like I said, if it wouldn't be for Chief Ramon and his leadership with me with operations and with starting with the process of making sure this department grew and becomes a very professional fire department, without his help, it would never have been done. And I want to thank him again. And also our board of directors who I served under them for 45 years. They could have got rid of me anytime they wanted to. So, you know, but when we, at first when the chief was elected by the firefighters. And then it went to the board of directors to keep a fire chief. But again, over the years in Fair Oaks Ranch and all the people that I know in Fair Oaks Ranch and everybody else that helped with this department and make this department the way it is today. And it's going to continue to grow. And with the help of Fair Oaks Ranch, I know it will grow. And I know you're ready to help any way you can with to make sure this stays safe. And also, I want to thank Chief Mooring. Without his support from the from the police department, every time we had something and we needed something, his men would be out there for us. And I want to thank you again for that. So I'm not going to say any more because if I keep talking, I'll talk for a while. And my wife said you need to shut up once in a while. So thank you again, and thank you again for this honor. Thank you.
I did forget to mention that the fire department will be having a retirement celebration and dinner for the chief later this month. And so,
That's been changed. My son
Oh.
was in February the 24th.
so it's going to be in February now.
Yeah, because he lives in Tacoma. Actually, I just put him on a plane before before I got it up and cut it close. I'm very proud of him. He was a volunteer until he left to go into service in 2002, and now he's flying with Delta Airlines. The pilot is going with Delta Airlines. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next presentation is the introduction of our new fire chief, is Fire Chief Craig Ramon. And if you don't mind standing up, so. And I'm going to read a little bit about your bio for everybody who's here and online. And you could sit down if you want, or you could stand up there. Okay, there you go. Exactly. So Chief Ramon, he began his career in EMS in 1993 as a dispatcher and EMT, and he quickly became a paramedic and gained experience over the next 2 decades working for Anderson Ambulance, American Medical Response, Allen Ambulance, and First Medical Response of Texas. In addition, he worked as a firefighter paramedic for Seguin Fire, Kerrville Fire, and Alice Fire departments. He served 6 years in the Texas Army National Guard from 1998 to 2004. He stayed on an additional year in the active reserves and was deployed to Kuwait to serve as a combat medic and assist the military. He spent 12 years in Kuwait, 12 months, excuse me.
12 years.
Did it feel like 12 years? Okay. Okay. And Chief Ramon considers his career fire department to be the city of Commerce, where he served full-time from 2001 to 2020. And of those 19 years, he spent 4 years as a firefighter paramedic. He was a lieutenant, 14 years as a captain. And then in 2011, he also started working at the Leon Springs Fire Department, where he spent 5 years serving as a firefighter paramedic, 1 year as a captain, and 3 years as a battalion chief, and 2 years as our assistant chief. And he considers Leon Springs to be his home department. And again, I'm not going to go through all of his certifications because we will be here a very long time. But what he brings to the city is 5 years of chief level experience, 27 years of experience as a paramedic. He's a TCFP advanced firefighter, an EMS instructor, a TCFP field examiner, an incident safety officer, fire instructor, fire officer 4, and he's also a graduate of the Texas Fire Chiefs Academy. And so during the 5 years that he spent working for Leon Springs as a chief officer level, he has been instrumental in overseeing the transformation of this department from a volunteer department with some paid employees to now a fully paid fire department with a volunteer program. During his time, he has gone all in for our fire department, and he left Shirts, I believe, and after 19 years. I mean, not Shirts, excuse me, Converse after 19 years, and moved to the area so he can support Leon Springs full time. So I think that this is an amazing addition to our fire department, and I couldn't have asked for anything better for our new fire chief. So welcome into your new role. I know you've been here for a while, but congratulations on achieving fire chief, and look forward to working with you over the next few years.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything?
Some of y'all I know, some of you very little I don't, but it's a pleasure to be here tonight and be welcomed. As Ms. Kerner said, I have been working with the Leon Springs Fire Department and very closely with Chief Hardenstein, and particularly for the last 3 years. I've been working very closely with the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, very closely for the last 2 years to try to mesh and build our relationships and make it seem like we're not just your provider, but we're truly your home fire department. And I've enjoyed doing that with your police chief. I've enjoyed meeting with your city manager, and I've enjoyed conversations with the mayor, and of course Laura Kerner and I talk often as she attends our meetings as well. I want to thank Chief Hardenstein. 5 years ago, he approached me and asked me if I would take over a position within the organization managing all the staff. That was part-time employees and volunteers, and at that time there was about 30 of them. And I was kind of shocked there was no preemption to that. I was on shift. At that time, I was riding a truck by myself. We had 3 people on duty, one stationed by the airport, and that was me. I worked 24 hours every 6 days by myself, and 2 people on duty at the other station. And I said, well, sure. And he and Chief Cooley approached me and said, if you don't take this job, we're not going to fill this role. And so it's not something that I asked for. They obviously saw something in me and approached me, and I was grateful for that, and I accepted that. 12 months later, I'm standing at the Christmas party, and Chief's bragging about this guy that he really appreciates and doesn't know how he would have held the department together without him, and I'm waiting to shake somebody's hand, and he was talking about me. And so he promoted me to battalion chief at that time, and he thanked me and said, you know, you've done above and beyond what we've asked of you, and the title of captain is just not suiting for the job you're doing. And again, he saw something in me. And while I had a career department and I really enjoyed that department, as the years went by here, I just fell in love with the command staff. And I just started seeing myself, when I'm retired from Converse, this is where I want to be. And so before this promotion, I actually moved into the district 3 years ago and moved out of San Antonio and moved here. I could have moved to Converse where I was working full time, but I moved here planning for my future. The department wanted to hire 3 part-time lieutenants to manage the staffing. And at the time, it just didn't seem feasible to me as the officer in charge of the staffing to hire 3 more part-time people that were not going to show up when they had better things to do. And so I wrote, after about 3 months, I guess, of thinking about it, I finally wrote a proposal letter of me retiring from my full-time job and come here full-time with no benefits and minimal pay to save them $40,000 a year to hire one person instead of three. I modified my shifts to where I would work 4 hours early morning and 4 hours late evening so that I could oversee every shift change. And every time we were short, I worked on shift and covered the trucks at no additional fee to the department. And they took some time, they interviewed me a little bit, asked me some questions, want to make sure I was legit, because who does that? As Captain Biediger said, who does that? And I did it because I believed in this place. And I won't go on. You know, it flourished from there. I was a battalion chief for 3 years, and then the following year was our first full-time year where we hired all of the full-time officers, and that made my second year as a full-timer, and that made my second year into the assistant chief position, which was a year ago. 2 years October was when I started. And you know, I'm just grateful to be given this opportunity. I'm grateful to the Leon Springs Board of Directors. Some of them knew me and knew who they were standing behind and supported me. And a lot of them didn't know me, but they believed in their co-part directors that believed in me, and they stood behind me. And while this was a tough process to go through an application process for a job that I was already doing, I'm grateful that it allowed them to see who they were standing behind. And I'm allowed me to see that they truly are standing behind me. And so I'm looking forward to continuing serving Fair Oaks Ranch and Leon Springs and ESD4.
Thank you, Chief.
And we're gonna continue on with our city council meeting. Y'all are welcome to stay.
Or not.
I guess that was a prompt.
See ya.
Thank you, sir.
Be well.
Thank y'all for coming too.
Thank you.
But with that, we'll move on to our next item, which is the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda tonight, and that is the approval of the January 5th, 2023 regular city council meeting minutes. Is there any council member that would like to remove this item for consideration? With that, then, could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Chesley, and a second
Second.
from Scott. And all in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. And with that, we'll move on to our consideration items. Tonight we have 2 items on consideration. And the first item up is to take action on the item that we tabled from our previous meeting. And to start off, can I get a motion to take from the table the motion and its amendment related to the approval of a resolution allocating portions of the fund balance of the general fund and authorizing the Director of Finance to carry forward the continuing appropriations into fiscal 2022 and 23.
So moved.
I second.
Roy and Laura. And we'll go ahead and vote on the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the motion is approved and the consideration item is taken from the table. When we tabled the item at the last meeting, the original motion was made by Laura and seconded by Chesley, and was to approve a resolution allocating portions of the general fund balance and authorizing the finance director to carry forward continuing appropriations for year-end encumbrances, contractual commitments, and capital projects. A further motion for amendment was made by Chesley and seconded by Laura to strike out the words specifically allocating portions of the general fund balance and leaving in approve a resolution authorizing the finance director to carry forward continuing appropriations for year-end encumbrances, contractual commitments, and capital projects. With consideration of the amendment, is there any other further council discussion on this? That, then we'll go ahead and vote on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The amendment to the motion is then approved. So now we have an amended motion, which is to approve a resolution authorizing the finance director to carry forward continuing appropriations for year-end encumbrances, contractual commitments, and capital projects. We already have a motion and a second on this. Is there any other council discussion?
Just
Sir.
quick question. So part of the thing was to make sure that we were all satisfied with the verbiage changes in the resolution that accompanies this. So if that's inclusive of this, that was my only question. So then that's fine.
The resolution has been adjusted to reflect the changes that we wanted made from the past meeting. So yes, it's included as part of the packet. Any other comments? With that, then we'll go ahead and vote on the amended motion. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Then the amended motion is approved. Oh, we worked through that pretty well. The next consideration item that we have up tonight is the consideration and possible action accepting a grant on behalf of the Fair Oaks Ranch Police Department from the Office of the Governor for ballistic shields.
Good evening, council. Good evening, Mayor. I come today, my name is Lieutenant John Ojeda with the Fair Oaks Ranch Police Department. I come today to present for consideration and acceptance on a grant that was offered by the Office of the Governor for rifle ballistic shields. To give you a little background on this grant, back in November, the Office of the Governor disseminated a bulletin for all law enforcement agencies in the state of Texas to outfit what was needed due to the fact of the shooting that occurred in Uvalde and Robb Elementary School. So due to a narrow window that we had a short period of time to accomplish this with our department gathering all information that we needed and the help from finance. We were able to submit it on time. On January 9th, we received a notification from the governor's office stating that we had received the grant for the amount of $61,750 to purchase ballistic shields. If accepted by council, the Fair Oaks Ranch Police Department will utilize the funds to equip all of our patrol vehicles and also have a few extra to be able to deploy them and a notice when we respond to any situation. Also to protect our officers, but also to protect our people we serve in the city. Have any questions? I'm here to answer anything that you might need.
Questions from council? Any questions from anybody here tonight? With that, then, could I get a motion to approve the city's acceptance of a grant award to purchase equipment for the police department in the amount of $61,750?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Scott and Emily? Any other further discussion from council? With no discussion, then we'll move on to a vote. All in favor of approval of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you, appreciate it.
John.
Yeah.
And that completes our consideration items for tonight. With that, we'll move on to reports from staff and committees. And first up is an update on the Civic Center from our city manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Quick update. The primary takeaway of the update is just really to keep you informed and get any insight that you may want to offer up at this point. But I want to announce that Grant and his team, but mainly Grant, has agreed to lead this effort moving forward. And if you haven't picked up on it by now, Grant is phenomenal with facility and CIP program management. It was one of the key skill sets that we picked out of when he applied for the job. So appreciate Grant taking the lead in this. Within the next couple of weeks, we hope to publish the RFQ for design services so we can get that component up and moving again. Future actions for the council to think about, of course not tonight, but that will be coming your way, would be approval of a design contract to go ahead and develop the full set of plans so that we can go out for bid. Future conversations about extending the application to the MDD, or asking the MDD for approval, letting it expire, or maybe enhancing that application. Again, we'll be seeking council insight on that. That's the gist of my update tonight. So again, in 2 weeks, we hope to have the RFQ published and looking to move forward with this project. Exciting times. I was at a meeting last night with Councilmember Kerner and Councilmember Stroop and the mayor, and one of the first things that the members of that group said was, hey, we don't have any meeting space. And they were looking for comp space from the club and everything, and it really registered that this project is important to the community, at least in my mind. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions? Any questions from anyone here tonight? All right. Thanks, Tobin. And the next report that we have is an update on the Post Oak Trail project. And went over to Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Grant Watanabe, the Director of Public Works and Engineering Services for the city, and I'm here to provide an update on the Post Oak Trail Safety Improvement Project. So the primary purpose of this project is to reconstruct Post Oak Trail, providing wider lanes as well as paved shoulders to improve traffic safety. Back in October, we selected one of our on-call consultants, Half Associates, primarily because of their experience in working on TxDOT projects, but as well as their familiarity with the TxDOT processes and procedures and some of the contacts they have within the district. As you can kind of see on the top right corner there, we lay out the project limits in blue. Post Oak Trail runs from Silver Spur on the south side to Rolling Acres Trail on the north side. The existing pavement is about 20 feet wide. We are going to reconstruct that road, providing wider lanes, 11-foot lanes, as well as 3-foot shoulders for a total width of 28 feet, which is the maximum allowed under the HSIP program. In addition to wider lanes and paved shoulders, we also plan to stripe a center lane and edge lines, and this will help prevent or lower the risk of head-on collisions on that road as an additional safety measure. In the bottom right quadrant, you can kind of see a short timeline of where we currently are and where we're going. We just recently finished the 30% design, and we're working on submitting the 60% to TxDOT in early February. In February, we're also planning to hold the first of 2 open houses with the residents that live on Post Oak. And this will, we're going to be sending out personalized invites, and this will be to help familiarize them with the project, some of the impacts, some of the adjustments that's going to be required. The detour plan, the traffic reroute plan, and so on. So the first of those 2 open houses is going to be in early February, and the second open house is planned for the September timeframe. at which point the TxDOT would have awarded the contract. We'll hopefully have a schedule available from the general contractor, and we can provide better information to the residents at that time. The expected duration of the project is about 8 to 10 months. So starting in October, probably finish up sometime in the summer of '24. Like I said earlier, because we are widening Post Oak Trail, there's going to be impacts to all of the driveway tie-ins as well as the existing mailboxes. So we're going to be sure to communicate that with the residents. We're going to be replacing any culverts that we have to relocate and remove. We're also going to have to budget for, well, we've already have enough funds in our project to budget and include replacement of any of the mailboxes along that road as well. I know that's a key concern for a lot of them. And again, because we are reconstructing the entire length of the road, there's going to be several closures, several reroutes associated with that. We do have a traffic control plan developed, and it's developed into 3 phases. And I'll kind of quickly go through the 3 phases. The first phase involves specific localized closures at 3 points along Post Oak Trail. Christina, if you can go to the next one. And these are for replacements of the existing culverts. So the first culvert is closer to Silver Spur on the south end of Post Oak Trail. We're going to do a localized closure there. So anybody who lives south of that culvert will have to enter or access their home from the Silver Spur side, and anybody who lives north of that culvert will have to access their home from the Rolling Acres Trail side. Similarly, next slide, please. The second culvert is kind of toward the middle of Post Oak Trail. Similarly, people will have to access from either Silver Spur or Rolling Acres Trail. And then the last culvert is toward the north side, closer to Rolling Acres Trail. Next slide. And all 3, all work here is just localized to the area of those culverts. Now, where it kind of really gets complicated is in the next phase, where we close the northbound lane. We're going to reconstruct the northbound lane, and the only traffic that would be allowed on Post Oak Trail is southbound. So unfortunately, if you live toward the end on the bottom of Rolling Acres Trail, you're going to have to check it all the way around and come down from the north and get to your house. But at least when you're leaving your house, it's easy to exit. Now, the opposite happens when we finish with phase 2 and we start phase 3. And that's where we close the southbound lane, and the only traffic available is northbound. So again, if you live on the north side of the Post Oak Trail, then it's going to take a little while to get to your house. But we'll have to live with it for the 8 to 10 month duration of the project. And I think, yes, ma'am.
I just have a quick question, actually more of a suggestion. I'm assuming we have and or will talk with BISD and get them that information early for buses and all of those things for school. Just suggestion.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to coordinate with them. Thank you, ma'am. And I believe that's the last slide I have. If you have any other questions, I'd be willing to take them at this time.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Just, you know, this is a situation, the reason we have to do this drastic work is because this road got way beyond just the maintenance level, correct?
That is correct.
And so just kind of a reminder to all of us here why we need to get these roads on a program so that we don't have to do these kind of drastic things and cause this kind of impact to our residents to totally rebuild a street.
Yes, sir. Good point.
Anybody else? Any questions from anybody here tonight about the project? Thank you, Grant.
Yes, sir.
Great job.
Thank you.
That completes our reports from staff. Now we'll go into requests and announcements. Is there any council members that have any announcements that they want to put out? Okay.
I just want to let everybody know today Kelsey Delgado and I, Kelsey's the environmental compliance manager or program manager for the city. She and I attended a seminar at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens today, being put on by Texas A&M University, that dealt with tree preservation and oak wilt. So I know that's a very hot topic, and it was very informative. I learned a whole lot. Was, I think, going to be very beneficial for the city, for us to attend these types of things. So, you know, hopefully next meeting we'll be bringing some of that information to you guys.
Anybody else? Had a couple quick announcements. Bulk trash pickup is going very well. We've completed sectors 1 and 2, and we'll finish that up with sector 3 next week. We have scheduled our transportation town hall meeting for next week. It'll be on the 24th of January. It'll be at 6:30, and it'll be at the Spring Creek United Methodist Church. If anybody, well, encouraging all residents to come out. What we're looking for is we'll present a lot of information about the future of transportation in the city, but what we're also looking for is feedback on what residents want to see as we continue to develop those transportation needs. So please come out and provide your input. It'll open up with a general discussion to the group. We're not going to stay in the group very long, maybe 20 minutes. And then from there, we're going to move into breakout sessions, and that's really where we can get down to the level and talk about the individual items in different areas, and then get feedback from residents. On the 24th, that's next Tuesday? At 6:30. Next is State of the City. We've scheduled the next State of the City address. That will be on the 15th of February. Scheduled right now at the Country Club, and it will start at 6 o'clock. And our city staff will get more information out on that when tickets are available and when we'll start distributing those. But we anticipate that information coming out probably within the next week to let you know more details about it. And then the last item I have is we're looking at the upcoming city election. It'll take place in May. And Christina's been working this and working with Kendall County. They're looking for poll workers to work the election site as part of the election. As part of that, I believe, Christina, they have to go through training also. So the city staff, or Christina, will probably be putting out information next week or the following week, which is really a call for poll workers. And we're looking for individuals to sign up, go through the training, and to help work as part of Kendall County to put on the election. Could be. Let's have to talk to Lieutenant Ojeda about that, but I'm sure he could take care of us. And that's all the the announcements that I had. Tobin, anything else to? Okay. Is there any item that a council member has that they would like considered or added to a future agenda? Look up now. Okay. With that, we are going into executive session tonight. Pursuant to Section 551.101 of the Open Meetings Act of the Texas Government Code, a quorum of the governing body hereby convenes into closed session. We will do this under Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, and the City Council will meet in closed session to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property that may be considered for future location of water and wastewater system improvements. We'll also be considering Section 551.074, personnel matters. The City Council will convene in the closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, personnel, to deliberate the duties and performance of the city manager, Tobin Maples, and if City Manager Maples may request the deliberation be conducted in open session. For now, I have the time is 7:24, and we are moving into executive session.
Okay. Mayor, we're back.
We're live.
Yes, sir.
Christine, I have the time now is 8:59, and we are back in open session. During the time that we met in executive session, there were no decisions that required any action back in open session. Is there anything else we need tonight? Christine, anything else we
No,
missed?
sir.
Or
No, sir?
nobody, anything else that you had? All right, I have the time is still 8:59, and we are adjourned.
This one.